All right, good evening, everyone. Please, if you can hear me, uh, go into the comment section. Type yes. You can hear me clearly. Okay, you can hear me. Please type yes in the comment section. So if you can hear me, can you type yes in the comment section? And you can just try to copy this and call others' attention that we are live so that we can. We only have 1 hour opportunity. So after the 1 hour, whatever we do, pray the Almighty God bless that. Okay, thank you. I can see Jessica. I can see Adeye. I can see Latifat. Okay, so I just want to confirm you can hear me clearly. So once again, you are welcome. And I see this as we promised the other time. I thought we would have time to vision on how what we have done together. But unfortunately, time did not permit us to all the 90 examples out. So just like we stopped in our last class, we just do the revision. Like I told you, for those of you that have been checked by Professor Mudele, just want to treat those questions at the back. In that it covers almost everything we have done in the class. So I will be picking those questions at the back. If you have those, you have the textbook. You can open it to the textbook and I will be treating them one after the other. So treat those questions, and I'm sure whatever we have in the question covers almost everything we have done in the class. So the first one is talking about psychology can mind as a scientific study of dash. So psychology can be defined as a scientific study of dash. We have done this in the class, and I'm sure this should not be an issue. So please, if you have your textbook, can you tell me, okay, let me just try to sample before I do explanation on that. If you have your textbook, can you just type, I have the textbook. If you have your textbook, can you type, I have the textbook in the comment section so that I will know I'm actually talking to that have the textbook. If you have the textbook, can you type, I have it. If you have the textbook, can you type, I have it. I'm waiting for you. Okay, I don't have the textbook. I can see Paul telling me I don't have the textbook. But that's not an issue. Just like I've said, I know some of you have the textbook. Some that didn't have. Just go and so those of you at posted also, sir. Those of you at posted, we have, I think I've been with questions up to 30 questions. So just try to look at those questions one by one and then tell you. So like that one, that number one, psychological can be defined as scientific study of dash. We have about 4 options. How to perform emotional level, observable action, and internal thought, manipulating thought, and changing for the better. Which one is the correct answer? Which one is the correct answer? Please, if you can still hear me, can you just confirm if you can hear me? Maybe the doctor should just try to do that because, okay, you can hear me, so that's fine. So what's the correct answer? What is the correct option? What is the correct option? Okay, you can't hear me. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Can you hear me now? Is it better now? Is it better now? hear me now? Okay, the options again. Yes, I first of all want to confirm you can hear me. Just okay. Thank you, Kapira. Okay, so the options are how to overcome emotional problem, observable action and internal methods, manipulating thoughts, changing for better. Those are the options. Which one is the right? Which one is the correct? Which one is the correct option? Which one is the correct option? So for those of you, of course, this is what we have done in class. I want to so that it will just be as if you just want to grab because they say this is the way the best of or not in another form. But once you have the understanding of what psychology is all about, no matter how this art the best of definitely uh definitely get the right key. Okay, you want me to adjust this from creating probably see better now. See better now. Okay, thank you. So so once you do that, so let me move on to number two. And what I will do that let me first of all so to what the question and we have a better understanding of what we do the right answer. In fact, what I intend to do for you was to guide you so that whatever the option is, so the second one is psychology can be considered science because psychologists that there are different options here. Number one is that it is study topics like tax performance, value, reduction, study sometimes get lab notes and research value science perform. Option four, try to science. Like I said, there are ways uh, you can guess an answer when you come to question. For those of you that are in the classroom, when you look at it now, we are talking about psychology can be considered as a science. Can be considered as a science because psychologists says study uh, like skills and tax performance. Of course, that's not included in psychology. So, because that is not part of the answer. Part two is talking about sometimes you hear lab and research. Is there any psychologists that are very lab? It's not part of it. Then option C, science. Number four, try to study science thing. So the correct option here is using science and using science. You can check your network. So I can see others who are telling you that they can get it. So probably people want to check. You want to check the network. Probably so that's that. So I'm moving on to number three now. Number three. Which of the following psychologists took the strongest view that a learner is active learning process? Which of them talking about active that the psychology that took the strongest view that a learner is active learning process? So this is coming up under then okay, thank you for yes, science. It is from the mind. Is it better now? Is it better now? If it's better now, let me know. So which of these psychologists that took the strongest view that a learner needs to play an active role in learning process? This one is under the definition active learning process. So one of the psychologists was talking about learner need to play an active role, that it is the roles of the learner to play such roles in the learning process. Of course, they are learning stages. So we have beginner, we have attempt, we have mistakes, we have some people first thing. So which one is the right one? Which one is the right one? Which one is the right one? So when you look at it very well, one of the psychology that has the strongest belief that the learner needs to play active is so this is very similar to lessons 1.5. Not really similar. Let's go on to that number 5. Talking about the mission of the types of psychology is not most likely what directly so he said we have different psychologists. Of course, when we are talking about different types of psychology, we have experimental psychologists, we have emotional psychologists, we have school psychologists, then we have mental psychologists. And the question now is which of them is more most likely to work with your system among the types of psychology? Which one is more likely to work with your system? Which one is not likely to work with your system? Which of them? Yes, experimental. Experimental psychology. That's the people that is not likely to work in school setting. But these are the people that deal with these are the psychologists, of course, that deal with mind and light. So let's take it to one of the psychologists, the only one that is not directly with school system and one is experimental psychology. So let's move on to the next one. The group psychology that try to explain the difference among people. That's another type of psychology. Which of them? Oh, you can't still hear me, but people are saying they can hear me now. Listen, let me just pause for now. You can hear me clearly. Let me type yes. You can hear me. Can you type yes in the comment? Okay, so thank you very much. They can hear me. That's why I said check your internet. Check your own internet. So let's move on to the next one. The fields of psychology that try to explain differences among which of the fields in psychology that try to explain differences among which one explain differences among and it's you know them already now which of them which of them. So I'm going to give you the option. We have developmental psychologist. I'm going to work on developmental psychology, personality psychologist, industrial psychologist, then psych, pharmacology. So among the four, which of them explain differences between which of them explain differences? That is personality psychology. Personality psychology. The only one that explain difference among. So let's move away from there and move on to the let's move on to the advantage for students who take courses in psychology. That should be a bonus question. Was it income? Okay, the mic. Okay, I'm coming. Let me try to change the headphones.
Okay, what about now? Can you hear me now? We just have to manage it in this way. If the headset will be the one disturbing us. Is it better now? Is it better now? Is it better now? Okay. Okay, fine. If it is better, so let's go on. Let's go on with this then. Uh, very loud and clear. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, all right. So let's move on to the next one. It's talking about the most likely advantage for students who take this course. What are the most likely advantage? So which of these the following is most likely advantage? The most likely advantage for students who take the course. Of course, we know the course, that's our psychological foundation. The advantage for you. So sorry, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Mathematics. If once I'm done with. Okay, that's fine. So let's take it away from that one and move on to the next one. Because we are actually talking about which of them is talking about the advantage you can take. Okay, so let me let me use this. Um, so thank you. I can see you can hear me. Okay, we have explained this one that the field of psychology is that concerned with explaining differences among individuals. That's personality psychology. That's personality psychology. So let's move on to this. A relatively permanent change in behavior resulting from experience is called dash. A relative permanent change in behavior. Relative permanent change in behavior. A relative permanent change in behavior resulting from experience is called dash. That is learning. That's the only thing that is constant. The only thing that is constant in human's life is what that's a change. So the permanent change in behavior that can be result from experience is learning. So something related to learning again. Learning where a neutral stimulus elicits an involuntary response is known as dash. Is one of the topic we treated. We talk about, a neutral stimulus, a neutral stimulus, the neutral stimulus that give a kind of a response. So that is classical conditioning. That is classical conditioning. Like I said, because of my time, I may not have the luxury of the time to be giving you all the option. Since you have the textbook with you, for those of you that have the textbook, it's just to guide you and also relate what we have done in the class along with the revision we are trying to do now. So let me move on to another one. So let's move on to those theories. Let me even ask, what is the full meaning of CS and US? What is the full meaning of CS and US? You know, there are about 4 terminologies we use: CS, US, CR, UR. CS means conditioned stimulus. That's conditioned stimulus. US means unconditioned stimulus. Then CR means conditioned response. Then UR means unconditioned response. So when you know this very well, it will give you a kind of hint when it comes to those theories, the psychological theory. So the next one I'll be talking about now is Pavlov's experiment. We remember the experiment performed by Pavlov, where he was using a rat with hot fire, putting them into test and the like. So this person is saying, in Pavlov's experiment, the unconditioned stimulus was dashed. The unconditioned stimulus was dashed. The unconditioned stimulus was dashed. That is the meat powder. That is the meat powder, and you can definitely get that one on the other side. So the stimulus, questions on stimulus now is talking about, that's number 12. Responding to a stimulus presented alone is best described as dash. When you respond to a stimulus, is best described as dash. Responding, yes, thank you, Paul. Paul is telling us that it is conditioned stimulus. Okay, powder, thank you. So responding to stimulus presented alone is best described as conditioned stimulus. It is conditioned stimulus. So I'm moving on. I'm still on that stimulus. Let's move on to extinction now. When an extinction occurs, what does it mean? When an extinction occurs, what does it mean? It simply means a increase in intensive or phase. When there is a decrease in response, that is extinction. That's an external. So let's move on to another one, which is number 14. In classical conditioning, which one come before the other? You know, in classical conditioning, they consider some responses more important than the other. Is it the CS that occur before the US? Don't forget that CS is conditioned stimulus, CR is conditioned response. So they are different between the two of them. So which, in the classical conditioning, is it the CS that occur before the US, or CR that occur after the UR, or CR occur before the CS? Which one comes before the other? I'm waiting for your response. So the conditioned stimulus will definitely occur before the unconditioned stimulus. And when you look at it now, you see that it's talking about the stimulus. The two of them is talking about the classical conditioning. Yes, thank you, Okubote. The CS will definitely occur before the US. CS occur before the US. Thank you. So let's move on to another one. So let's move on to reinforcement. The reinforcement. And someone just tried to tell me, what is the meaning of reinforcement? Can you put it in the chat? What is the meaning of reinforcement? because the next 4 questions now will be coming under reinforcement. What is reinforcement? What is reinforcement? Don't use ChatGPT. Of course, you know CBT will not allow you to use ChatGPT. So what is reinforcement? What is reinforcement? What is reinforcement? I'm waiting for your response here. What is reinforcement? You are doing as if you have not heard the word before. What is reinforcement? What is reinforcement? Alao, what is reinforcement? Paul, what is reinforcement? Okay, what is reinforcement? Strengthening. Someone is saying strengthening. Okay, when we get to the practical question, I think that's at the point, we will know at that point if you know what reinforcement is all about. Of course, okay, it means increasing behavior. Yes, when you are trying to apply a kind of treatment to increase someone's behavior. You know, sometimes, or if you promise let's say a baby of let's say a student of a basic school, let's say basic 4, I say if you complete this assignment within 2 hours, I'm going to give you this biscuit. That's a reinforcement. You are trying to apply something to, you know, to increase that kind of a behavior. Or it's okay, when I'm coming next weekend, if your mommy give a good report about you, I'm going to buy you something when I'm coming from Lagos. If that child, you know, change as a result of that promise, that's reinforcement. So now let's go into the question proper now. Reinforcement is to increase behavior, because we want to see the difference between reinforcement and punishment. You know, sometimes you can say, okay, if you do this, I will do this for you. The negative aspect of it. That when you go into that now, that one is punishment. Now the question now is, reinforcement is to increase behavior, as punishment is to dash. A, increase B, increase behavior, positive, D, that is increasing of behavior. So that is, so reinforcement to increase the behavior, while punishment to decrease the likelihood of what of the behavior. So let's move on to another example. A reward deliver. Every example. A reward deliver after every 10 responses is an example of dash. You know, we have different types of schedule. We have fixed ratio schedule, we have fixed interval schedule, we have variable schedule, then we have the variable interval schedule. So the right answer there, which is part of the reinforcement, that is a fixed ratio schedule. Fixed ratio schedule. Fixed ratio schedule. So let's move still on that. Which schedule is giving a reward after a specific time, regardless of responses? Which schedule gives reward after specific times, regardless of the responses? That is the fixed interval schedule. That's the fixed interval schedule. So far so good. I think we have treated almost 25 out of the 7 questions we have here. I want to try as much as possible to see if we can get up to 40 We are able to get to 40, then we are good to go. Then you can go ahead and do others on your own. So let me move on to still on that learning, still on learning. So learn by observing the world around us is called dash. When you started learning as a result of observing things that goes on around you, what kind of learning is that? What kind of learning is that? Is it conditioned learning, or classical conditioning, or operant conditioning, or social learning? The answer is that social learning. We are still back to that of 20 to see. Okay, thank you. Social learning. Yes, social learning. Thank you. So there is this question on. Okay, let's go back. Applying psychology individual that when you apply psychological principles, help individual potential. What psychology is that? Personnel psychology? Is it psychology? Is it organizational psychology? Is it developmental psychology? Psychology applying is so we have about 15 more questions to go after this. So, but what I would say is we'll keep on. I'll try to leave this till tomorrow morning, latest 8 a.m. I'm going to delete this live. So because I'm just using this to do, it's serving as a form of revision class for us. So it's not something that will remain on this permanent. Because I can see others did not bother to join despite the message sent by the governor. So let's move on to the practical aspect of learning now. Hearing a pipe crack. Hearing a pipe crack. When you are hearing a pipe crack, before cold water hits and shivering immediately is next to represent something. Is next to represent something. Is next to represent a kind of a simulation. What kind of simulation is that? Or what kind of stimulus is that? Hearing a pipe crack before cold water hits. Or let me put it in another form. If you are taking a shower, when you hear the pipe crack, then 2 seconds later, your shower, later turn freezing cold and you start to shift. So the next time the shower or the pipe crack again, what will be your reaction? What will be your reaction? Then what kind of stimulus is that? Is it conditioned stimulus or unconditioned stimulus? So that's conditioned stimulus. That's conditioned stimulus. That's conditioned stimulus. You are reacting towards that as a result of something. You already programmed something in your brain. Yes, that's conditioned stimulus, not unconditional stimulus. That's conditioned stimulus. Now let's move on to animal now. Let's move on to animal. You teach your dog to sit down by giving him a piece of meat every time he sits on your command. This technique is an example of dash. Is an example of dash. Teach your dog to sit down by Please, if you can still hear me, can you type yes in the comment section? Let's see if you can still hear me. Let's type yes in the comment section. If you can still hear me, can you type yes in the comment section? Okay, thank you. Mimi Show. Okay, thank you. Please, let's call others because let's call others' attention to this now. Like I told you, I'm going to put this down in the next, let me say in the next 10 hours. So don't expect that you will still be seeing it. And that's why I'm trying to do this at the eve of the exam. So now let's come back to the dog. You are teaching, like I said, on a command. Teaching a dog to sit down by giving meat is an example of dash. Is an example of dash. Command conditioning, observational learning, classical conditioning, operant conditioning. Which one is the correct one? Operant conditioning, observational learning, command conditioning, classical conditioning. So that is operant conditioning. It's more or less as a condition stimulus is already, get used to that okay, once I give you this, or before you do this, you have to sit down. To human being, let's say your parents say, okay, if you didn't sit on dining, your food will not be served. So of course, you know the rules in your house that once you are roaming about, your food will not be served. So that's an operant conditioning. So let's move on to operant conditioning itself now. What is the meaning of operant conditioning? And operant conditioning principles are most aligned with Dash law. And operant conditioning principles are most aligned with Dash law. And operant conditioning are most likely, or the principles of operant conditioning are similar to idea or expressed as we have it in the textbook. So it is similar to the law of effect. It is similar to law of effect. So now let's now go to student now. We have talked about examples of an animal. A teacher promised to study during the break. A teacher promised no study during the break if Kemilola passes a test. What kind of reinforcement is that? What kind of reinforcement is that? What kind of reinforcement is that? We dealt with this reinforcement very well in the class. So I didn't expect any questions on reinforcement to look strange to us. A teacher promised no study during the break if Kemilola passes a test. Oh yeah, I'm waiting for your response in the chat. I'm waiting for your response in the chat. Someone said positive reinforcement. Any other one? And if this teacher promises that if Kemilola does well on the spelling test, that's another example, she will not have to stay in and study during break time. The teacher is using the technique known as negative reinforcement. That's negative reinforcement. So go and read your reinforcement very well. It's like you are using something to change the behavior. Yes. No, not CS. So which one is condition stimulus? This time around, we are now talking about positive and negative reinforcement. So that's negative reinforcement because it has a condition. It has a condition in a teacher promises no study during break time if Kamilola passes the test. So let's move on to something similar to that. Denying a child television until homework is done is dash types of enforcement. Is that a denying until homework is done? Denying a reinforcement until homework is done. What kind of, is that a reinforcement or punishment? Then we now come back to whether it is positive or negative. Denying a child television until work is done. You have a television at home, but you do not have access to this television until you are done your work. There is a television in it already. So that means you watch television, you must do your work. So until your own work is done, no television. That's creative. That's a punishment. Is fluctuating. Let's just manage. But I hope you can hear me now. I hope you can hear me now. I hope you can hear me now. Paul, can you hear me now? Paul, can you hear me now? Okay, thank you, Lasisi. Thank you, Lasisi. So let's move on to memory now. Memory are permanently stored in dash. Memory are permanently stored in dash. Memories are permanently stored in dash. Is it sensory memory, short-term memory, or long-term memory? Where are information or memories are permanently stored? It is stored in the long-term memory. It is stored in the long-term memory. Now let's now move on to sensory memory. Retain information for about how many seconds? Sensory memory, like how many seconds is it going to retain information? Don't forget we have sensory memory, short-term memory, then long-term memory. But among them, the sensory memory can retain information for about how many seconds? Five seconds, 1 second, 20 seconds. Someone said 20 seconds. Paul said 20 seconds. Is that what you read? So you can only retain that for just 1 second. 1 second. Just 1 second. Still on the memory. To move material from sensory memory to short-term memory, one must do something. When you want to move a material from your sensory memory to short-term memory, one must do something. Rehearse the material, encode it visually, use shocking, then B, selectively attend to it. Selectively attend to it. So the answer is selectively attend to it. You selectively attend to it. You selectively attend to it. Selectively attend to it. That's the only thing that can make you to move a material from your sensory memory to short-term memory before it gets to long-term memory, which is permanent. So let's move away from there. Let's move on to still on that memory again. Which among the following is not critical to short-term memory? Which one among the following is not critical to short-term memory? Encoding, decoding. Which one is not critical to short-term memory? Is it encoding or decoding? So the answer is decoding. Encoding is very critical to short-term memory. So the only thing that is not critical is what? Is decoding. It's the only odd one among them. So let's move on. Okay. I think this is one of the cheapest question. Once this come in, you should be able to. In computer term, the long-term memory is likely to something among the different part of computer. Among the different part of computer, the long-term memory is likely to something. Is it likely to monitor? Of course, you know monitor. Is it likely to keyboard? Is it likely to hardware? Is it likely to software? Of course, software you can't touch. Monitor is something you can see. That's the display where you can see the display of what is going on. Keyboard is an input device. So hardware is the part of the computer that you can touch and feel. So which one of them can be compared to long-term memory? That's hardware. That's hardware because you will feel it. You will feel it and it will remain in your memory for long. So I know this question was generating an issue during our last class, and that's why I wish to touch it. Which of the following group of letter is within the limit of short-term memory? Which of the following group of letter is within the limit of short-term memory? Look at all the letter. For those of you that are with the textbook, P, B, G, Q, X, R, C, L, D, S, Q, X, T, M, A, T, C, O, F, P, Z, T. Those of you that play Scrabble very well, you definitely know what we are talking about. D, O, G, C, A, T, C, O, H, O, R, S, E. In short, what we are trying to bring out is that when you look at all the letters, which one can be grouped, which among the letters can be grouped within the limit of short-term memory that you can quickly recall that, oh, I've read something here. The first one, you can't pronounce it. It's just a collection of English alphabet. The second one too is just a collection of English alphabet, both the consonant and then vowel. The third one is also combination, but you can pronounce it because when you look at it, it's talking about dog, cat, cow, horse. Dog, cat, cow, horse. It can be pronounced. So the only one that is fall within the short-term memory is what? Is the dog, cat, cow, horse. Those are those words you can use to form a word there. So let's now move on to social learning. Still on the learning again. Social learning theory stress that interaction with others. So this time around, I'll just be jumping to the key because of our time. So I only have just 5 minutes more to spend here with you. So before I move on to another assignment. So what I will say is this: if you know you have a textbook with you, can you tell me? I will give opportunity to those that are with the textbook now. Tell me the number, the questions, those things you have with you that are very explanation. Let me on here. Okay, let me now. According to it has is what's the stage. Which one is the highest? Please, can you hear me now? I will give you just 10 minutes, 10 more minutes, so that we can just try to see one or two things we can still achieve more. So let's move on to all these. If please, you can still hear me, can you type yes? If you can still hear me. If you can still hear me, can you? Okay, thank you. So the prenatal period of human development is commonly divided into how many stages? Prenatal period of human development is divided into how many stages? Okay, it's divided into three stages. It's divided into three stages. Which of the following is a primary reinforcer? Money, food and water, termination of pain, both B and C. The one that is primary reinforcer is and termination of pain. I'll just continue to rush now so that I can put something down for you. Okay. The learning phase during which information is broken down, analyzed and reconstructed into meaningful form is called acquisition. It's called acquisition. So I promised last revision, and I think so far we have been able to revise, if not up to 40 or more. So what I will do is start practicing those questions at the back of the textbook, and if there's anything difficult there, try to drop it on the group chat. I will respond to that between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. tonight. So I wish all of you best of luck. But what I will say is that practice all the questions at the back of the textbook, and I can assure you, if you practice it very well, it will definitely help your performance in the exam. So on this note, I want to end the class, and I want to wish all of you best of luck. Or let me say, if you have any question, you can drop the question in the chat. I'll give you like 5 minutes. If you have any question, drop the question in the chat. I'll still be here with you, but I'm not going to treat any question early. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat.